All right, so I want to do a couple of programs where we do something with random numbers. So I can give you a couple of programs where you do something with random numbers. And the simplest thing we can do is just simulate rolling dice. Regular old six-sided dice, not fancy Dungeons and Dragons dice. I'll make you guys do that one. So we're just going to generate numbers from 1 to 6, which we did in the last program, although I think I screwed it up once before I did it right. And add them up. So we'll have a for loop. We'll ask the user how many times do you want me to roll it, and then we'll add them up. And I'm going to do something that I've never done before, and it's actually in modern programming not considered a good thing, and it blows my mind that it's not considered a good thing because in the first languages I learned, you had to do this, which is decide at the very beginning all the variables you're going to need and declare them all at once. So I'm rolling a certain number of dice. I'm going to keep track of the rolls and add them up. So what variables am I going to need? I'm going to need a variable called number of rolls. I'll call it n underscore rolls. I'm going to need a variable for the result of each roll. I'll call that result. I'm going to need a variable when I'm counting my rolls to know which roll I'm on. I'll call that roll, like roll number. And then I'm going to need a running total as I add up my rolls. I'll add them to the total. So I'll call that total, and I'll actually initialize this to be equal to 0, since the total is 0 before I've done anything. And I can declare all my variables all at once in one line, just separated by commas, and this will create 4 integer variables with total having a value of 0. And like I said, in the olden days, in programming languages that people used in the 80s and 90s, you had to declare all your variables at the beginning in some programs. It's nowadays considered good practice to declare the variable as close as you can to the first time you use it, because to the person reading, like the person reading doesn't know what result is because I haven't done anything with it. To the person reading, it makes more sense to declare that variable right when you're about to use it, so you know why it's being declared. But there's a part of my brain, because it learned how to program 30, almost 40 years ago, that wants to do it this way, that wants all my variables to be up front so I know what they're going to be called. Anyway, so I'm just doing it to show that it can be done. You can declare your variables all up front. So a little Java housekeeping here at the beginning. I create my random object of my random class so I can call the random methods. I create my scanner method, scanner class, so I can call my scanner methods. So that's just a copy and paste thing I start at the beginning. Let's talk to the user. Let's tell them what we're going to do, and then ask them for a number of rolls. So, and again, I'm copy and pasting so you guys don't have to watch me type really, really slowly. System out. I will roll 6-sided dice for you and report the total. How many would you like me to roll? Okay, so we're asking for an input. So we're going to read in from the scanner this total number of rolls I want, n rolls. Okay, so n rolls is equal to the next int read from the scanner, the total number of dice rolls. N rolls equals scanner dot next int. So now I just need to roll a 6-sided die that many times and add up the total. And maybe I wanted to tell the user each number as I roll it. It's up to you whether you want your program to do that. So I need a for loop. What's my for loop going to be? It's going to be for each roll, starting with roll 1, up to and including number of rolls. And then I make roll 1 bigger each time. Start my block of code. I like to put a space in here. I missed my space. What am I going to do? I'm going to generate a random number and put it in result. So result equals, and then the syntax is random.nextInt is my method of the random class, random.nextInt. And then I have to tell it what range to generate in. And how does this work again? When I generate a random number in some range, it doesn't include the top number. So I want the numbers from 0 to 5, and then I'm going to add 1 to them. Right? So this is how we do that. Random.nextInt 6 gives me the random numbers from 0 to 5, I think, and then I add 1 to that. We'll see if it works. And then I need a semicolon. And then we'll just report to the user what we rolled. We'll have a print statement, system out print, I rolled A, and then tell them the result. The result of the roll, the result of the random number. And then I need to increment my total. Whatever I rolled gets added to the total. So the new total equals the old total plus result. Result. Semicolon. And that's it. That's my for loop. Close bracket. End of for loop. And then I just need to tell the user what the result was. So I'll copy my print statement, system out print, the total of the rolls was, space, end quote, plus, then the variable total. Okay? That should do it. Let's see. Well, let's see if I have any mistakes. I was doing a lot of typing and not as much copy pasting as I usually do, so there might be some mistakes. No? It compiled and ran and seems happy. How many would you like me to roll? Let's start simple. Let's do 4. Rolled a 5, a 3, a 5, a 2. The total of the rolls was 15. Is that right? 5 plus 5 is 10. 3 plus 2 is 5. Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's do another with just a small number of rolls. Something I can add up in my head. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 2. 2 and 2 is 4. 5, 5 and 8 is, yeah, that works. I can do more. Roll me 10 dice. 4, 4, 1, 6, 5. Notice that it's the range is right? We're getting 1s and we're getting 6s, but we're not getting any 7s. We're not getting any 0s. So this line here, random next int 6 plus 1 is right. That gives me random numbers from 0 to 5, and then I add 1, and that makes them from 1 to 6. Okay? The total, I'm not going to check that math. The total of the rolls was 33. Okay? So that is a really, really straightforward add up a certain number of dice rolls. For a really simple assignment, I'm going to ask you to add a question for the user, which is not just how many dice to roll, but what kind of dice to roll. 6-sided dice aren't the only kind of dice. There are 4-sided dice. There are 8-sided, 10-sided, 12-sided, 20-sided dice. There are more exotic kind of dice. You can choose whether to constrain your program to the number of sides of dice of the ordinary dice that you encounter if you're a role-playing gamer, or you can imagine any kind of, the computer is not constrained to the platonic solids. It can make whatever kind of dice it wants. So have the program ask the user, what kind of dice would you like me to roll? And then how many would you like me to roll? And then print the result of that. The next thing we'll do after that is we'll have the program roll multiple dice many, many, many times, and then see if there's some results, some totals that happen more often than others, and that'll get us to talking about a little bit of statistics. So we'll do that as well.